Hearthstone Grandmasters for the Americas continues with our third series of the day here at week number 2. We have the winners of our previous matches, Bloody Face and Now Get Down will be playing in the lower bracket matches, while we have PNC and duking it out right now on stream. So we're going to get their bans in and get everything settled, and an opportunity to see if PNC, who has the same lineup as Nalgadon, can perhaps carry the torch and take down Eddie, who was able to rely on that spell Druid after getting off to a very quick start with that warrior. And the bans are in. No Demon Hunter so far, and with this, almost ensures that we probably will see Demon Hunter banned this entire day, TJ.
Yep. Looks like it.
Right,
which, I haven't been playing it to practice it, so that's good.
Well, the reason why is because if there's two people that have similar lineups, then we're going to see 3 possible combinations of bans against their opponents, and we'll see if PNC strategy going up against Eddie will still be able to prevail. The only other thing, I guess, is if Bloodyface plays against Eddie, that could theoretically change. But it seems like people are just widely accepting to ban Demon Hunter. It's very, very powerful.
Yeah, just kind of too good right now to want to leave up because of its just spread of matchups across the board. But PNC coming off a 3-0 against Bloodyface. And Eddie has a very similar lineup, with some slight differences, obviously. He does have the Warrior and the Priest, which Bloodyface also had, but different variations of both of those decks. And then has Spell Druid in place of, Rogue, which is what Bloodyface had as his third deck in the series. So, obviously, Eddie's lineup is well tested against PNC's lineup specifically, because he's beaten Algadon twice with the lineup. Albeit very close series at 3-2 on both sides. So I'd still say you could go either way. And, we'll see if Highlander Hunter can carry once again, because it seems like the deck to beat right now, at least on day 2 here. But when the two main forces collide, right? The Druid from yesterday, which had an insane win rate, and the Hunter from today, which had an insane win rate. Which one wins?
Yeah. I would say that outside of Highlander Mage, though, the Druid looks like it would be in a good position as well. I love Druid versus Rogue right now. I think Druid seems to be the clear favorite, and I really like Druid against all Hunters as well. Those are 2 classes where it seems to particularly prey against, while 2 classes that Druid seems a lot weaker versus are Mage and Priest. And of course, Demon Hunter, which it feels like most people do tend to struggle, but it's a very specific archetype of Demon Hunter. We're going to start things off with the Galakron Secret Rogue. Galakron Secret Rogue can come in many different shapes and forms, but it looks like we're going to play a duplicate version instead of a Highlander version.
Yep, and some interesting inclusions in the list as well, or exclusions. PNC and Now Get On, for that matter, same list. They both play a Boom Pistol Bully, fantastic in the mirror, and only 1 Devoted Maniac. But since it is a 2-of list, it does have pretty consistent Galakron invokes with the Double Shield of Galakron, Double Seal Fate, and Double Praise Galakron. But those kind of cuts make way for essentially a full secret package, since most players will play 1 Ambush, 1 Bamboozle, 2 Dirty Tricks with the Shadow Jeweler Hanar, and double Blackjack Stunner, which is incredible for tempo if you can line those things up. Right. So I know there's a lot of people that do not like the secret package at all and think that it's kind of wasted slots, because you want to have consistent plays every turn and not rely on kind of a mismatch of secrets, but it works. We've seen it work a lot of times and can make for some awkward turns for your opponents, having to check secrets with 3 different triggers. So Eddie's going to be playing the Priest, and this is the Resurrect Priest. I think Eddie realizes that Priest is going to lose. I don't know. The 3 bad matchups across the board: Rogue, Hunter, Highlander Hunter, and Highlander Mage. Those are all bad matchups for Priest, and not even just they're pretty bad matchups. No, they're just atrocious. So Eddie's just going to kind of throw out the Priest here. And the only matchup that's worse for Priest than outside of those three, yeah, it's Demon Hunter, which is the deck that he banned. So we'll see how it's going to work out for him.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter too much if Priest loses here, but if he gets a win, that's huge. So
it's huge.
We'll start things off, yeah. And this is probably Priest's worst matchup. So PNC starting off with Rogue versus Priest is probably going to be a very quick start for a 1-0 lead for PNC.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
The light shall bring victory.
You may be thinking, well, TJ and Frodan, if Priest is so bad against everything, why did players bring Priest? How did Eddie make it to the top 8 with Priest in his lineup? Well, Priest is very good against both Druid and Warrior, which were the most popular classes in week number 1 and are still two of the most popular classes in week number 1 and are still very popular across the board in week number 2. It just so happens that PNC and Nalgidon went with a different strategy and with the Highlander Hunter and Highlander Mage. So it just lines up badly against a lot of players in the group, specifically the 2 players that Eddie has faced so far today.
Yeah. Curious enough, too, that Priest on the ladder seems to be doing well against Demon Hunter as well. But I imagine that as you progress higher through the ranks and you eventually hit Grandmaster caliber play, I think that probably reverses. So taking a look at the opening hands here, I like the start here for PNC. Eddie's just kind of be chilling. He's just waiting to see until PNC plays a card, and PNC rips the Shadow Driller Hanar, and now we'll be able to start that Secret Train and really disrupt his opponent's plans.
The good thing for Eddie is that this is only doing 1 damage.
True.
He can ignore it for a very long time, and you can only have 5 secrets. All right, it's dealing 2 damage.
Well, that's twice as much as before.
That is double, but good thing for him is he can heal 2 damage every turn. And just going based off historicals, I mentioned it earlier when we were talking about specific matchups, but Eddie also beat PNC in the Swiss 3-1. So
True. Those are all very true things.
And I bet you that one game he lost was Priest.
Possibly. So PNC plays the Never Surrender and now is offered 3 secrets, one of which is already in his deck in the form of Bamboozle. Bamboozle might intimidate his opponent because it is a rogue secret and it makes it feel like there's 2 rogue secrets to play around now, and he'd be afraid to play more of like a ambush type when he has things like the Conjurer's Calling. The Convincing Infiltrator. Brain slip there. I'm not sure why I called this a mage spell.
Sometimes the mind plays some dirty tricks on us, Dan.
Oh yeah. I get really bamboozled there.
Yeah. Your thoughts just ambushed you.
I must consider.
No resurrects.
I don't have a comeback for that, TJ. I really thought hard for like 15 seconds.
I gave you a good chunk of time.
I know, but I was like, well, do I just start pulling the secrets from the Kobolds and Catacombs expansion? Yeah. And even then, I'm like trying to remember what they were called. I think one was Sudden Betrayal.
Yeah, I don't even remember. They weren't played.
Yeah. Oh, Evasion.
Evasion? Yeah, Evasion was
one
played.
more. I can't remember the other one.
I'm looking it up. Cheat Death.
Ah, yes, Cheat Death.
Well done.
Yeah,
Dan.
that analysis really cheated death, TJ.
Well said, Dan. Well said.
Now, PNC, he kind of waited for Eddie to play his turn. Eddie just drops the Bone Wraith. The thing about Bone Wraith is that it was better versus Ambush because it still left something on the board. And the good thing about this Bone Wraith, too, is that if Hanar bumps into it, Eddie does have Shadow Madness to potentially help swing the board, as well as Holy Nova. However, PNC setting up a pretty sturdy board. Now, Eddie, when he kept use of the coin, kept onto his hand, I think that he's just going to play his Convincing Infiltrator here. One of the most powerful things you can do with this deck is to use Grave Rune on an ideal target, but that is a few turns away.
Yeah, a few turns away, and now PNC is just gonna be able to Heist Baron Togglaggle. One of the other things is Eddie has never surrender, or PNC has never surrender up as a secret.
Oh yeah, Holy Nova is very bad against that.
Yeah, I mean, Holy Nova's not great against this board anyway. It does clear off 7 power, but I don't think you can afford to play into a Never Surrender. Also, if it's Redemption, then the Shadow Jewel Hernar just comes back up, which means it only takes off, well, I guess it still takes off 6 power, but...
Does it, though?
I honestly think that...
Wait.
What
if he stole the spell damage, the fountain?
Oh, and
it would
then
give
Never
him
Surrender.
spell damage. Yeah.
Oh, or and then Holy Novas, yeah. Oh.
That's very fancy, and I don't think it's necessary right now. In fact, that play still exists on the following turn.
Yeah, it does. Oh, nice. Got the Convincing Infiltrator.
That's so big for Eddie.
Well, there's a Blackjack Stunner.
Yeah, there's still a Bamboozle in the hand.
I don't even know if I would have picked Wondrous Wand here. He had a Dirty Tricks up, and he just is going to keep filling his hand up with secrets.
So
Why not
dirty.
just pick a Xerox Crown instead of a Wondrous Wand?
Well, the Wondrous Wand gives him more longevity in case he overextends, and then, like, Plague of Death comes down. I mean, the previous Never Surrender still makes this really tricky to deal with, and now Eddie sees the Blackjack Stunner, which has largely replaced the role of Sap in this deck. And PNC slowly but surely getting this overwhelming value while still maintaining tempo.
I honestly do think the Shadow Madness Holy Nova is just the juice here.
Yeah, now, is there a way this can backfire? With Hunter Secret and a Rogue Secret, not particularly. The other added benefit is there's nothing really for this Mana Spring to attack into.
Yeah.
Like, so there's no Bamboozle activator. Rogue would be Pressure Plate, I believe. But I haven't actually seen that specific interaction yet. Does Shadow Madness and Pressure Plate work that way? Like, if you play Shadow Madness?
Yeah.
Oh, the spell damage
so.
kills the water. Oh! Wow. I wasn't really expecting that.
And now Shadow Menace Holy Nova is not going to work because Never Surrender is going to come down again.
Yeah. I'm not sure even like what's really the line of play here, but Never Surrender into Secret Discovery does sound like a really solid line of play. I think another thing you can do is just Ethereal Lackey and see if you just pick up like a really high impact spell that can help accelerate the pace of this game. Ooh. Pack Tactics.
He's digging for a counterspell right now.
Oh yeah. Counterspell. Oh, brutal. And
Choose soon.
I mean, ambush. is pretty solid. Just kind of gets in the way of Eddie developing anything else on his board. This rogue is just controlling the entire pace of the game solely because of Shadow Jewel Hanar.
That's like nearly all he's played this game. And a Heist Baron Togwaggle. PNC has played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 secrets.
Jeez. It's a lot of secrets.
I must consider.
Yeah.
And now Eddie's trying to find... I mean, when every class that has a secret is up right now, you have to account for a range of like 20 cards. And it is too difficult to, I think, try to narrow down the optimal play based off it. I think you just kind of have to let it fly here. Eddie, what are you going to do? I think he's going to try to coin, but if it's counterspelled, he doesn't have access to Plague of Death. Oh, interesting. So coin gets counterspelled, and then he can Holy Nova twice. But the problem is, if he Holy Novas and coins, he has a chance of just coining again.
Does it work that way if it gets counterspelled? And that's game.
Ouch.
What a weird game, man.
Shadow Jewel Hanar. Can't sleep on it. PNC 4 games in a row on his way to a top 4 finish if he can just win 2 more games this series.
Yeah, and, you know, that was an expected loss, right? Priest has a terrible win rate against Rogue. It's probably if one of its worst matchups, if not its worst matchup, and Eddie using that first just to kind of see what PNC is going to queue, so now he gets to counter it with whatever deck he chooses, which will very likely be Druid to face up against that Rogue. So, yeah, that was just Hanar doing Hanar things. Got so much value just from individual secrets, right? Like his secrets were what killed everything. And oh yeah, well, an Evil Miscreant too. The Mana Reservoir doing some work by giving him an extra shield fate damage, and the snipe hitting the Sandhoof Water Bearer. So
yeah, doesn't seem like there's much that you could really do there as the priest, because you just don't have a lot of counterplay to it when you don't run things like Shadow Word Pain.
yeah.
So overall, priest not able to really do much this series, but you're not going to really miss it too much. Eddie still has the spell Druid, which I think might be what Eddie queues up here. And then the Mage would come out. Then you have Warrior to take on those 2 matchups, which isn't the worst thing in the world here for Eddie. In fact, might actually end up being on his side a little bit here. So I anticipate Eddie to still be very competitive in this series, and I think that's probably what he interprets as well with that first queue priest. Even though we do kind of say that the person that wins last year's standing is in like the very severe advantage over their opponents, I would say this might be one of those exceptions to those series where Eddie still feels pretty good.
Yeah, he's actually going to queue his Warrior next, which...
Oh, interesting.
Now, this kind of tells me that he wants to save his Druid.
Okay.
Because let's say he beats the Rogue with his Druid, it allows PNC to queue Mage, I suppose. Which I think he wants to line it up against the Hunter, but I feel like those matchups are very similar. Druid versus Mage and Druid versus Hunter. So I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but that's what would make sense to me. Maybe, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe Eddie just really likes the Warrior. If this is how his matches have been going against this particular lineup, which now he's played 3 times and won all 3 times against the PNC/Nalgadon lineup, then I trust his judgment.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go into game number 2 here with the Rogue off to another Shadow Jeweler Hanar start.
I'm not sure I feel about that card, Dan.
Hanar?
Yeah.
Why? That card's awesome. It's so powerful.
Yeah, that's why.
Oh. So you're not sure if
So
you...
I would prefer raw power, right? I would prefer a card that's just stats.
Warmaul Challenger.
Yeah, like Warmaul Challenger is very powerful, and I love it because it's unique and it's annoying in its own way, but not annoying in a Shadow Jeweler Hanar way.
Got it.
Someone's got to lead the charge.
But you're the one playing. You say you don't like going up against Hanar. No one likes playing against Hanar. That card is so taxing to try to think about all the optimal ways to play around it.
I never lied.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yep.
And PNC, he is moving and grooving. He is feeling himself right now. It's so interesting. This is a metagame where we've seen Rogue coin on turn 1 more often than I think we've seen in the past 5 years total. It feels like in Hearthstone history, Rogue has had incentive to coin very few times. I think the one exception might be Quest Rogue back in the day, but that's very rare. Very, very, very rare.
Yeah. I mean, this is okay, but to be honest, this is not the most fantastic Hanar. Because the only secret he has available to him to get Hanar rolling is Bamboozle.
Unless he Shadow Steps it, TJ.
Unless he Shadow Steps it, but honestly, I'd just take the 5-drop right now, right?
Yeah. And this could be disastrous for Eddie if he doesn't keep this Hanar in check. But he attacks, sees the Bamboozle. Okay.
Oh, still dies to Warmaul Challenger.
Warmaul Challenger kills it. Also, you could just play Terran Gorfine on curve and challenge that too.
He could play Terran Gorfine on curve, yeah.
You could also play Corsair Cash and guarantee kill the following turn. Just has to be willing to accept 8 damage.
Which I think he is.
Right. Warrior's a class that can rebound super easily from that. Now PNC is playing the remainder of his secrets. Little sad for Shadow Jeweler Hanar. I'm gonna laugh if we eventually get to the point in the metagame where players have agreed upon that Shadow Stepping Hanar is correct when you have some more secrets in hand.
I don't know if that's gonna ever be the case. We'll see. But eventually you have to do something besides play secrets.
That's not true. Look at what happened in the previous game.
No, Dan. Well, he could have just kept playing secrets. He played a Evil Miscreant and a Seal Fate, Dan.
Look at this hand, though.
Yeah, he kept this hand. He kept Galakron and Seal Fate.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
He chose this life.
But he could have also Shadow Stabbed Hanar.
Yeah. True.
This is not a hill that I like need to. It's not a hill that I'm gonna die on. That's for sure. Wow, this repentance, by the way. And he's like, God damn! Why did he was trying really hard to play around the possibility of dirty tricks and whatnot. I think he kind of forgot about the Paladin's secret repentance.
Yeah.
What was the reason for playing Warmaul Challenger first? If it was ambush, no, you could just swing with the weapon.
Yeah. So I'm actually not sure. It looked like at first he was going to go for something like Injured Tolvir plus Terran Gorfiend, but that would be incredibly weak to Blackjack Center with a secret up. There's 2 other cards that are kept in the mulligan. A lot of times you keep Blackjack Center,
right,
especially if you have an R.
Or a Warmaul Challenger.
Yeah. Wonder if this is worth a Eviscerate from PNC. He has next turn to play the Praise Galakron to get the double invoke, if he wanted to have the two invokes.
That sounds good to me. I do want to praise Galakron right now.
Yeah, if he picks up... Oh, never mind, he can't pick up Rush Lackey because he doesn't have mana. Now we're kind of looking for a battle rage from Eddie's perspective.
Yeah, this Hench Clan Burglar also has gotten me curious. I think that card is still very solid. For people who want to play more Rogue-oriented decks, you still very much can. It's still viable, it's just not... It's not really that powerful. We saw some people actually build more of that into their Rogue decks, right? We saw Underbelly Fence, for example, while playing a couple of other thief cards, so to speak. And if you're confused on what thief card means, it is just generating another card from a different class. Forbidden Words is something that immediately stands out to me, given that Warrior does actually struggle with removal.
Dan, I'll tell you what's standing out to me. Head crack. He's got 2 bombs in the deck. He's got time. He's gonna have 3 bombs in the deck. You just keep head cracking each and every turn. One day you'll get him.
I guess so. I just think that, like, Forbidden... I mean, one, yes, you are correct in that if he just keeps pushing out that damage, eventually he'll kill him. Especially against a class that doesn't heal. I just like the versatility of Forbidden Words because... You know, if the opponent ends up struggling to develop and then has to play like a bigger Van Cleave at like 8/8, you can actually just use Forbidden Words right there, and it's a deck that struggles to remove things directly. It usually tries to go through roundabout ways of Risky Skipper and Blood Boil Brute.
Yeah.
PNC trying to get board presence through lackeys.
It's working.
Yeah. Well, the Serpent Egg makes its way into the hand. Terran Gorfine's been kind of chilling there far left for quite some time. And I wonder if that's just going to set Eddie off here. He knows about the possibility of Blackjack Thunder, but he knows that 3 of these cards are lackeys.
Yeah.
He also
knows that one was kept.
Exactly. One was kept in the beginning of the game, and it feels like if you haven't... Like, it feels like there's been opportunities to use Blackjack Stunner. Although, again, I can't exactly recall if there's been a minion that Eddie has that PNC's like, yeah, I'm just going to sack that. It's not something that I think he would keep. That's what I'm trying to say. Eddie with the board clear.
All right.
Oh!
Oh, Jesus.
The faceless laggy summoned a Serpent Egg of his own.
Yeah. I also want to point out that PNC kept Seal Fate and Galakron against Warrior.
Ah, yeah, you know, I was kind of talking about how Seal Fate is a card that I just don't like against Warrior, period.
It's very low. Kept in the mulligan win rate against Warrior. One of the worst cards. And Galakron is middling at best in like this style of Warrior versus Rogue.
I think PNC anticipated the ability to Seal Fate the opponent's face early on.
Yeah, but even then, he also kept Shadow Jeweler Hanar, which means that you're way more incentivized to try and mulligan for an early secret. Now, he got one off the top on turn 1, which signaled him to go for the coin, but...
Yeah, when you put it like that, TJ, I also strongly disagree with how things end up.
Yeah.
Things end up painting in PNC's favor, but yeah, that was definitely a risky situation.
Yeah.
PNC
yeah,
is
but
a
it's
risky
still going
skipper.
well. Because Blackjack Stunner is going to come out now on the Terran Gorfian, which
Jeez.
is going to make it lose quite a bit of value. And he can
That's
just clean up
amazing,
this board fully and roll into Galakron next turn.
That is so sick. 2 Kobold lackeys to kill the Serpent Egg, or the Serpent rather.
Yeah.
Choose soon.
And now PNC. Well, he's just gonna go ahead and use his dagger, which makes sense. Squeeze out the resource there. It doesn't seem like Warrior's gonna threaten you.
The thing for Eddie is he has time.
Right. This is not that much threat unless PNC draws the High Spear and Togwoggle the very next turn.
Or praise Galakron, because that would fully invoke the Galakron.
He can go for a 2-card draw Battle Rage here. If he goes for the Bloodbale Brute and just the Battle Rage right there.
He would give over the dirty tricks, but I guess at this point you can't hold on to spells for any longer.
You still can. I mean, there's 3 power on the board after you trade into it, and your minion will be at 4 health, so I think it's entirely reasonable to just kind of let your opponent trade into it. If that's what they want to do. If I'm PNC, I'm also heavily just weighing the possibility of playing Galakron right now. Yeah, not with that micro moment, it's not going to do anything. How much is this activated? It's at 2?
It's at 2. It needed 1 more invoke. There was 3 total invokes. Good enough, right? Oh my
Oh
gosh.
boy. Wowza. High Spear and Togwoggle picked up for free, and you could play it right now. I'm kind of hard-pressed to find a reason to not play it right now.
Maybe. Darkness wanes.
Yeah, I don't really think... I can't think of too many reasons.
I can't think of a single reason. Xerox Crown. I think you could pick literally any of the options from the treasure, and you're still in a good spot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is going to be okay for PNC, no matter how Eddie chooses to respond to this. This is too much pressure, and this is a bad sign. Eddie drops this game. Rogue might run away with this this series, but you know, it's tough to say because Druid's still very powerful.
Yep.
But I'm kind of already I'm watching Eddie right now, and I'm kind of thinking about the next game. Obviously, stay in the moment. There's still lots of ways that this can shake out, but this is looking very much like a Rogue victory here. Unless... That bomb has reminded me. Whoa, hold on. Okay. Wait. Hold on a second.
Hold on a second.
Wait a minute. There's 1 draw off the top of Eddie's deck that can end the game.
There are 2
Next
draws off
turn.
the top of Eddie's deck that can win the game next turn.
There are 3 draws off the top of Eddie's deck that can
Are there?
win him next turn.
I think
I
there's
don't
2.
know.
There's Inner Rage and Risky Skipper.
Yes. I just wanted to sound cool.
Oh, okay. Well, you sounded very cool, man.
Did he play?
You always sound cool, so.
Did he play both Risky Skippers if he drew the second one?
Wait a second.
Oh, Zarek's crown. If he gets taunt.
He didn't get taunt.
Oh, what
There's
is that?
an out for Eddie.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if I necessarily like the 2+2/+2 here.
Yeah, I think I like the 8/8 taunt. Gotta think about what's your last out here.
1 out of 7. Ready to win. Oh my gosh.
So close.
That's a bummer.
Dang. And, you know, interestingly enough, had Eddie not gone for Rage Battle Rage, he would have drawn the Bloodsworn Mercenary this turn and still have the Inner Rage. Obviously, that is not correct for Eddie to play that way, but he didn't know he was going to draw Core Crown Elite and Bloodsworn Mercenaries as the next two cards. That's going to do it. PNC up 2-0, looking to see if he can go back-to-back sweeps. Although I'm sure this next coming matchup is going to be very hard for him to get that sweep, so it's unlikely, but it's still possible. And PNC can show his best foot forward. We kind of talked about how there's a question mark. He is one of the most biggest X factors when it comes to the America's Grandmasters, because we're not sure if the PNC that shows up, who's the Season 1 winner from 2019, is the one playing today, or is it the one that was kind of struggling and was in danger of potentially being relegated at one point. It's tough to say which PNC will show up.
I mean, but
today he's doing great.
He's doing great, but still some shakiness in that last game. Still some things that, you know, I have some questions about. The mulligan being one, and then that last turn. Eddie should never have had a draw to win that game. There's zero scenario where Eddie should have a chance to win that game. And he gave it to him by just not making an 8/8. Still would have set up 2-turn lethal. So, you know, still got to make sure that he crosses his T's and dots his I's in order to go. But today he is 5-0, and he has had a lot of good games today. But we'll see if he can close it out with Rogue and make it 2 clean sweeps to make it to the top 4.
That's right. And he has 3 chances to take out this Druid. We've seen Druid do the reverse sweeps before, as recently as yesterday. Gonna be hard. There's Highlander Mage, which just seems pretty solid. But if he can get past the Rogue and the Mage, the Hunter feels pretty free, in my opinion. So there's a couple of checkpoints here. We'll start with the Rogue, which is the middle of these 3 options. Then we go with the hard, and then we finish out with the easier, if that ends up being the case. We also could see what happened last series, which was Eddie queuing up the Priest, even though it wasn't really a good matchup, and then just kind of getting blown out and going to Game 5.
Yep. Well, that's the curve you're looking for, or that's the card you're looking for as PNC. Flick Sky Shiv. Tucked over there in the middle left. Also, just Feral Cat Praise Galakron is a good beginning. It gives him something to do on these first couple turns, so I'm liking how PNC's hand's turning out.
Yeah, the big key to unlocking Eddie's hand is the ramp and the card draw, and it looks like he's found both, so even though this is a good start for PNC, it might not be enough.
Well, unless there's ramp that comes out next turn, or if somehow the Glowfly Swarm comes out early, PNC's going to have the coin plus Flick to deal with Glowfly Swarm on curve if he needs it. So, which he probably will, unless Eddie can put him on having Flick, which he saw 3 cards kept in the mulligan. He's seen the 2 that were played. Alright, well now you can just innervate one out next turn.
Oof. Loses the Sarah. I don't want to see that, but not the end of the world. Not super important in this matchup. Another Pharaoh Cat.
And another Ancestral Guardian.
Yeah, if you're PNC, you gotta think about what secret, or if you want a dagger here. And I don't know if Ambush is even relevant in this matchup. Like, I totally get that it can challenge cards like Mount Cellar and the Mount Cellar and Kael'thas. Sorry, I was thinking about whether Eddie should be going for the Glowfly Swarm in this position or not, and it looks like he's choosing not to. Ooh.
Your presence offends me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just too little.
Yeah, it's a little too late.
Yeah.
The Innervate Soul of the Forest, by the way, that is sick. And that really plays
it's
around
the juice.
Flick.
Yeah. Flick can still clean up actually a good chunk of this board, but Eddie has reload behind this.
Right.
With overflow. Not reload per se, but he's got the overflow, which means that PNC, even if he has Flick, he needed like just Shadow Step, right? Like Shadow Step would be the only draw that might keep him in this one.
Right.
But right now, if he flicks, he takes off 2 power. Because he would be able to kill all these Glowflies, but then only trade into 1 of the Treants.
Yeah, it's a little all in, but I think it's a good pick. It's a good play by Eddie. When I say it's a little all in, it's that you've committed a ton of resources. So your Kael'thas turn is very unlikely to have nearly the same amount of impact that you usually expect it to. But that's okay. Now, if you're PNC, do you slow play this? You could flick, but like you said, you're not changing much of the board. Instead, are you supposed to play Shield of Galakrond, perhaps?
I mean, I think you're going to have to deal with this stuff eventually.
Right, but if we think about what's coming up next, if it's Gift of the Wild, flick, going for a flick here doesn't really accomplish much.
Yeah, but if it's Gift of the Wild, unless you get a taunt from your Bamboozle, you die.
Yeah, that's true.
Essentially. Well, yeah. You don't die, but you're down to 4.
Yeah, you're down to like critical life, and you might just
Yeah.
might be in trouble. So yeah, I can understand. Totally fine. PNC is going to see this overflow soon from Eddie, but it looks like Eddie's just going to hold off on it just for a brief.
Yeah, it seems
turn
like he
here,
wants
so.
to power the Wild here.
Yeah,
And maybe try and follow that up just to make things awkward. He also wants to... I'm assuming he wants to kill this flick, because if he goes for a power the Wild play and a Shadow Step is drawn...
Wait, he should know that it's Bamboozle, right?
He should also know that it's Bamboozle.
Okay, so this flick will turn to a 9-drop, which has potential to be very disastrous for Eddie. Oh! Do you ignore that and just go face here? Okay, now I just have to control the state of the board. Yeah, I like that. You do miss that 2-turn lethal setup, but better to be safe than sorry. Ysera, if it pulls Ysera Awakens, that's big AoE.
Yep. Well, probably trying to plan these turns out. Evasive Worm this turn into like Shadow Jeweler Hanar, Secret Flame Ward. I don't know.
I mean,
just some level of protection there.
I think if you're going to rely on Hanar to offer you the perfect card, I think you would have played it way earlier. I think I would have foregone the
Ancestral Guardian.
The Ancestral Guardian. I think also in hindsight I would have maybe foregone the like ignore the Ancestral Guardian for a while too. That card doesn't do anything in this matchup. It feels like it's a 4/2. It gets traded so easily by any 2/2 that's in there.
Yeah.
Lifesteal really isn't going to be the difference maker here. It feels like to me.
Yeah.
I think I would favor the Hanar because that just sounds like there's a lot more that can be done that disrupts your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you landed Counterspell, Spellbender, like that kind of stuff. I know it's a little bit more expensive and your opponent's playing free cards, so maybe that's not as impactful. Flame Ward is like the important one too. That being said, I'm saying that if you needed Hanar, you should have played it way earlier. I think PNC stuck to a line where it says if Eddie doesn't have like Glowfly Swarm, I'm going to start getting really far ahead on board. So I think that's entirely reasonable, his line of thinking.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Okay.
Witchy Lackey, probably the worst Lackey in this situation. He just wanted something to have board presence to be able to get an Edwin out to try and fight back, I think. Kobold Lackey would have been nice. He could have had a 6/6 Edwin and be able to clear off this Eagle.
Yeah, now I probably am considering Ancestral Guardian because it can challenge a little bit and it's stickier on board and you get that lifesteal.
Yeah.
Van Cleef is just a 6/6 at that point. He's not going to clearly win you the game. Oh, goes for the Hanar.
Okay, counterspell. I mean, that's something, but there's so many spells that you can just dump in this deck. All right, Kael'thas time.
Much.
Yep.
Yeah, the Bog Beam can shut down the Ambusher, and then Eddie has the rest of his deck. Wild Growth plus Overflow is just like the rest of his deck. He might actually just instead
Yeah, I
go
think
for
Rising,
Rising
wins.
Winds.
Because then Crystal Power also becomes playable as another spell, but he's actually running out of 0 mana spells. He only has an Iron Bark left.
Right, that's what kind of the thing we were talking about before. Eddie's Kael'thas turn is significantly weaker, but he still has like a giant turn coming through. Yeah, I think summoning this 3/2 is better.
3/2? If he goes 3/2, you might just even like gift. 7 cards remaining. It's actually very likely that he hits the Iron Bark with Overflow. And then a Crystal Power.
Well, that was the thing. So if you do end up going for, oh wow, Eddie uses the remainder of his turn.
Okay. He's okay with this board being dealt with because he has Glowfly Swarm plus Soul of the Forest to follow it up.
Right. I'm saying if he knew he was going to draw Iron Bark, the better play was actually Wild Growth, so that way he could
Get the excess mana.
Yeah, precisely.
As the 4th spell.
Well, this should be lethal. Power of the Wild, Satyr Drawer, and Gift of the Wild, and Eddie strikes back. Druid against the Rogue, and we're probably going to see this go down to a game 5 if PNC doesn't win the game number 4. It might even go Eddie's way entirely. Of course, we're assuming that PNC will just counter immediately with the Highlander Mage, which should be his best deck against Spell Druid.
We'll see, though. I do like the Ysera Unleashed again as a card against Highlander Mage, because that just gives you like additional waves that are also pretty unpredictable for the Mage to plan around. Because Mage does have like those big removals that can deal with any board state possible except for Dormant with Reno, Amazing Reno. Excuse me.
Right, the Amazing Reno. I mean, that is one of the most important cards in the deck against Druid if you can get to that stage, because it can remove these giant boards no matter how big they build. And that's the key. Otherwise, PNC might be in trouble. So this is his chance to go for the throat if he ends up going for it. And with the Jaina sound clip being heard in the background there, it is going to be Highland Mage versus the Druid. So let us see who will get the best of this. And I would just say that the winner of this game will be the winner of the series. Obviously, PNC would win 3-1, but Eddie, I feel like, would be in a severe advantage, huge advantage over the Hunter, because I feel like Druid had to draw really poorly for the Hunter to get the win.
Yeah. All right, well, PNC has some interesting options. We'll see how much he values Amazing Reno. Doomsayer had some merit, just so you have it when you want to go for like a Frost Nova Doomsayer. But it's a lot of times its value by being kept in the mulligan comes from you can interrupt tempo decks. You can play it on 2 to stop their turn 2 or turn 3. And that just doesn't exist in this deck because all they're doing on those early turns are either ramping up or drawing cards. So It's just a dead card in the hand for a long time. You might as well throw it back and look for more proactive plays. Like Zephyrus. Or Overconfident Orc.
Yeah, Zephyrus and Overconfident Orc, totally reasonable things to do to try and answer early game board, but looks like PNC slowly but surely amassing the correct tools that he needs. I would also say that now that he has Dragoncaster in the hand, just one puzzle box of Yaxaron from winning the game on turn 6. There's debate. I saw Casey tweeting. Was it Casey? It might have been a different Hearthstone Grandmaster, but he was saying that puzzle box is so good in Highlander Mage because of how concentrated spells are. Right now, a bunch of spells rotated out, which means that there's fewer spells than ever, so puzzle box is surprisingly more consistent. Not really saying that much, but surprisingly more consistent. And the introduction of like some of these really powerful high cost spells like Eye of the Storm for Shaman from Galakrond's Awakening and Grand Slam, it just feels like the puzzle box has so much potency to just build up a board you can't beat. It's almost like a King Feoris that removes your board and draws a bunch of cards.
Yeah. Unless it, like what happened to me yesterday. Whatever that spell is that turns your hand into demons. That's not fun.
Yeah, when you lose your entire hand because of that, then yeah.
Well, I didn't lose it. They just turned into demons and got +2/+2. But whatever. All right, this Doomsayer from PNC actually quite smart, blocking the coin Glowfly Swarm, which obviously you can assume is going to happen. And he's been drawing cards. Now he's a dump a card if he doesn't want to overdraw.
Time waits for no one.
Yeah, I'd probably say Moonfire's the least important card out of all of these. I would say the cards that give you mana, like Innervate and whatnot, is not super important. Wow, Eddie going for the Bog Beam instead. I figured Bog Beam would be really useful because it's almost certain that you're going to get to 7 mana at one point. That has a lot more utility.
He doesn't even have a playable card in his hand.
Yeah.
The one thing that holding on to Innervate, or Moonfire does, is if he draws another 0-mana spell, he can go Kael'thas, Innervate, Coin, Glowfly Swarm, Moonfire, 0-mana spell, Soul of the Forest.
Yeah, this still seems like a Glowfly Swarm setup to me. It's still like a... It should just like prompt the Blizzard from PNC, right?
Yeah, but Eddie was hoping to have it down before the Blizzard. Or before the Reno. Because Reno also deals with a lot of it. Right? It's 14 health on board. Takes out 10 of it. Unless you get really unlucky, it's very likely that you're taking out 4 of them.
What to do?
No. Is he going to do it?
Okay, so Coin...
Waits for no one.
Coin, Innervate, Kael'thas.
Oh, wow. This is
Overflow.
way too slow. I'm worried for Eddie here.
Well, the thing is, if PNC uses Reno to kill the Kael'thas, or if he finds a 0-mana spell, but he only has 1 more in the deck. Alright, Fungal Fortress is fine.
Yeah, but the Reno killing it is so big. And Eddie burns another card. This was huge. PNC's hesitating, and I can't even begin to fathom a justification to leave up Kael'thas here.
This would be the fastest Reno I've ever seen in my entire life.
I am actually
He's a full hand. He drew 5 cards.
Yes.
Play the Reno. There we go. Thank you.
It was more like, I understand that he's just trying to make sure that it's the correct play, but there's just no possible way it's not.
Yeah.
Because Kael'thas is the engine that really makes this deck go. And now Eddie, wow, he is really far behind now.
I wonder.
And what makes matters worse is that PNC has an opportunity to just kind of sweep this game out from Eddie, because if the Arcane Breath picks up another form of AoE, then Glowfly Swarm gets completely answered. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Kind of cold. Entirely reasonable.
You can trade Kona Cold, Ping. Leave 4 of them on board. Not terrible.
What if it's secret option? The secret option of Dragoncaster Pyro Blast to face.
Wow.
Ready for a
That seems legit.
Yeah,
So you're just going to value the board presence.
this is way better.
Yep.
Yeah, there's nothing really much for. Oh, hold on. It's like there's nothing much for Eddie to do, but he did find Savage Roar.
Could go like Power of the Wild for the Panther, Soul of the Forest, and Crystal Power.
Right.
That's a very resilient board.
Mm-hmm.
Kinda
That's where the
difficult to
Conicals
pick
comes
apart.
in.
Yeah, true. Yeah, PNC might be able even to take like an offensive stance, battle stance,
Right.
not defensive stance.
What to do?
Actually, no, wait. Battle stance is a balanced stance. Berserker stance is an aggressive stance. Excuse me, Dan.
Yes.
My World of Warcraft knowledge was lacking momentarily, but
Yeah.
I came to my senses.
Right. Berserk. I'm glad we were thinking the same exact thing. I just wanted to make sure that you knew
Okay.
what Berserker stance was.
Thanks for keeping me in check, Dan.
Yeah. Nine damage to face. This is not a 2-turn lethal setup.
This seems like a fantastic puzzle box turn.
Yeah, I think if I'm PNC, with my opponent's Kael'thas gone, I'm thinking about ways that my opponent's trying to come back in this game, and I think Kona Cold and Ice Barrier is something that I'm considering as first glance. Platoon Pilgrim feels like it has a lot of whiffs. If you look at PNC's deck list, he's got Ray of Frost still in there, Frostbolt, Arcane Intellect,
You're in my house.
Conjurer's Calling, and then he starts hitting the like puzzle box and power creation and whatnot. He goes for it, finds Blizzard.
What was he looking for? Puzzle box? Was
Puzzle
he really
box.
looking for puzzle box? Because he looks upset at this, and I think Blizzard is
I wonder.
fine. Maybe
Blizzard
he
looks
should have
great.
maybe he should have pre-traded with the water elementals.
Ah, yeah.
Whoa! Yikes!
Wait. Wait, what?
Wait, what? Is he
He's
dead?
dead.
9, 10, 11 plus 10?
Oh my.
That's
what?
21! What?
That was awful, TJ. I don't understand what happened there. I think that was a completely thrown game. What is going on? Eddie with a deep sigh of relief because I think he just stole home base.
Dan, I didn't want to feel these feelings again.
He just slam dunked that three-pointer.
I thought these feelings were gone.
Oh no, what happened? PNC
but
looks
they're-
so
but
good.
they're back.
He was supposed to win and just I don't know. I'm sure. Okay, so he clearly was thinking about a lot of things, right? Like he roped all the way down, thought about it, but in some world where his opponent drew a big portion of his deck, he thought that he wouldn't die. But okay, so his trades left 10 power on the board, right?
11.
11 power on the board, which means he would have been safe from Gift the Wild just by itself, but
No, yeah, by itself, yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Like, there's a lot. There's a lot of times you die from doing exactly that. That was very disappointing end for PNC. I kind of thought that he had that win, and
Yeah.
it looked like his to lose. He
Yeah.
had Blizzard there, and if he didn't choose to go for if he did go for that Blizzard, his opponent would have to develop more, and he had things like Kona Cold and whatnot. I think what he was thinking about was, how do I present a way to win this game? Because I think he was feeling like if he was just stuck cleaning up, he would eventually die, because his hand was like 2 Alex Strazas and a Khadgar and not Frost Nova, Kona Cold and Ice Barrier. But in reality, like, the play he did was kind of the worst of both worlds. It wasn't really presenting a board that I think was going to win him the game. If the Wind Fury Harpies got checked, yes. But like, your opponent has drawn so many cards, and it's likely they're just going to remove a bunch of stuff. So I don't think they were going to stick onto the board. And then the second thing was obviously, like, you just died if your opponent has any buff.
Yeah.
So that was disastrous. And I think PNC got really he got lost tunneling on how he's going to find his win condition in the next 2 turns. And I think that's something that is understandable, but not something that you can really play at this kind of level. You gotta be able to tighten that up a lot more.
It was in his grasp. And now he's got to shake it off and move on to this game, which is a worse matchup, in my opinion. I think the data backs me up on this one, albeit a small amount of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll see. Eddie's hand's not looking good right now.
Right. That
But
looks like a
PNC's.
full mulligan.
Yeah, that's a full mulligan. PNC, I might have even... no, 1-drop doesn't mean anything because hero power on 2. All right, that's
a much better curve, yeah. And, Old Faithful, PNC did well with the Hunter earlier, and I know we're being kind of harsh on him, but, like, that's in the past. And that was one game, and we kind of mentioned that PNC has these moments where it kind of just all falls apart at the very end. That's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Go and move on to game number 5. If he wins, it's okay. It's just that this is what feels like, to me, a much harder matchup. That being said, it's a pretty solid early game curve, and Druid does give some time for the Hunter set up. I think I would lean towards the Scavengers inquiry here, but Zephyrs is also plenty to just develop tempo here. Can just get the Animal Companion and pressure with a 1, 2, 3.
Just curve out.
Yeah, I just like the Scavengers inquiry, because, like, Druid can't really remove a lot of the beasts that you have. I think the one exception is if he draws the Diving Griffin. Then it's like, well, doesn't seem particularly good. But if you got Henge Clan Hogsteed and just played a 5/4, or I guess if he played Zixor on curve and got a 5/7, that would have just been super hard to deal with as Druid.
Yeah. It would be very hard to deal with. So it's an interesting turn for Eddie. Like, the obvious play is Crystal Power the Zephyrs and Fungal Fortunes. But it might be valuable to go for Crystal Power and Power of the Wild for the Panther. Because your opponent just Zephyrist, right? So either they picked up a proactive play in Animal Companion, or they picked up a Wild Growth. Either way, Power of the Wild forces their turn to be a little awkward, because you get to kill their Dwarven Sharpshooter with your Power of the Wild token if they Wild Growth. And if they Animal Companion, you at least have something to fight for board to buy you time for your weak turn of Overgrowth.
Right.
So you actually have something to fight back with. So I like this play a lot. And the 6 is a dead turn a lot of the time, right? Because you're still a turn away from being able to go off with Kael'thas. So he has plenty of time to get that Fungal Fortunes off, or 7, whatever, because he won't have enough stuff. So you can Wild Growth, and then with hopefully a better board presence, can look to do something else.
Oof.
But this is pretty good from Eddie. He gets a relatively safe turn to Overgrowth. The only thing he's staring at is a Dwarven Sharpshooter on the other side of the board.
Right.
Regardless of which way you slice this.
Mm-hmm. And PNC just didn't want to risk getting the Huffer.
Yeah.
If he got the Huffer, it would have just been a really easy trade for Eddie. Ironbark. There's this possibility where Eddie just gets runner off the next 2 draws and just lands a really powerful Kael'thas. Okay,
right.
Fungal Fortunes.
Let's skip to the wild. Looking for Overflow plus 0 cost spell. There's 0 cost spell and Glowfly Swarm.
I mean,
okay,
it's
well,
still
we can play
good.
Glowfly Swarm this turn.
Not the most amount of 2/2s, but still enough. PNC can answer the majority of this, though, and he does have that Diving Griffin, which has gotten really powerful now. So, Diving Griffin, Hero Power. You get that extra mana crystal, so you can even Animal Companion as well. This is looking good for PNC so far.
Yeah.
Eddie's had a card draw. Looks like PNC debating how he wants to go about this. If he gets Animal Companion and rolls a Huffer, I think that's probably again a really bad thing. So perhaps instead he can Diving Griffin, pick up, I believe, Zixor or the Hogsteed, and both are still good outcomes here. I think you would Griffin first, and then if you get the Zixor, just attack with the Mana Saber and clear off most of this.
Quickly.
Oh wow, going for the full control plan. Just kind of squeeze out value off of his hero power. So if you're Eddie, do you just go for this? So you Bog Beam, Iron Bog, Glowfly Swarm. No, it doesn't work that way.
He will get 2 Glowflies.
Yeah, it seems like more of a Gift of the Wild setup to me. You trade into the Mana Saber. I don't know. This seems very weak. I'm surprised how.
Well, the thing about it is, the Kael'thas is not dying.
Yeah, that's a good point. It doesn't seem like it's dying right now.
Yeah, I actually don't even think there's a single way for Kael'thas to die. Now, it can go dormant, but that is very dangerous to my Shadow Song on Kael'thas, because then the turn it activates again, and he still gets to get full benefit off of the Kael'thas at no downside.
Right, because he does have Kill Command, but he doesn't have the mana to do everything.
Yeah, if he had 1 more mana, like if he could Corrosive Breath, Kill Command, Hero Power.
Right.
If he could Animal Companion, get Huffer.
Yeah, everything requires him to have a different mana.
Yeah. So actually, this play from Eddie has worked out nicely. Its problem is this is all of his stuff. But if he picks up card draw next turn, he is cooking.
Right. The moment he picks up any kind of draw, quite frankly.
Yeah, he could even go for your Sarah Unleash next turn.
Which I also like. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, if he goes for your Sarah Unleash next turn, taunt it, Kael'thas is still rather protected.
Oh boy.
Whoa. I don't even know what to do anymore. Okay, yeah, you Fungal Fortune. So Fungal Fortune's Ironbark give... Oh, jeez. Okay.
He's
still got to think this through.
Yeah.
Because he's out of Glowfly Swarms. So his ability to build a big board from nothing is limited. So there's obviously merit to playing Ysera Unleashed, and then
Fungal
next turn,
Fortunes.
and then Fungal Fortunes next turn to kind of reload.
There's also the alternative of just playing.
What to do?
I don't know though, because if you play the Fungal Fortunes, you're still going to be able to gift the wild, right? Oh, but everything has taunt, so then Kael'thas just dies. But Kael'thas is going to die regardless then here.
Yeah, well, you can assume that Kael'thas is going to die because he's going to Iron Bark this Ysera. I'm certain, or not certain. I'm pretty sure he's going to Iron Bark this Ysera.
So then he trades the 2/2s in instead of Kael'thas, so that way Kael'thas stays healthy and he can't get to it easily.
Yeah, but then his Gift of the Wild is weaker.
Right. Okay.
So I like this play, and sure, if he spends mana on killing the Kael'thas, you still have a 5/15 with taunt.
Right.
There's no deadly shot in these hunter lists. There's Maya of Shadow Song, sure, but again, that just delays it.
Well, there's a Rotnesh Drake.
Yeah.
That's a one of, and you still would have to specifically curate that result.
Yep.
All right. Well, this is definitely one of the more creative routes to kind of get there. I want to see if it works out for Eddie. Exotic Mount Seller comes to the hand, which means
That's the last minion.
it's the last minion.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's the stuff right
Jeez.
there. Those are the 3 perfect draws from the Fungal Fortunes.
Oh
Because
my
he gets to just play it all.
Gets an
That
Ever
is-
Cobra.
Oh jeez. All right.
Another Cobra. And PNC is in big trouble now. Rotnesh Drake way
well, there
too
it is.
late. But he still can go for the Henchkin Hogseed first and then
Yeah.
Rotnesh Drake.
And hope that he hits the Mount Seller.
Ah, jeez. I mean, opponent's down to 1 card. It's not like Mount Seller's actually going to be able to summon too much, but in terms of the stat line, yeah. 6/9.
I mean, maybe you have to save the Rotnest Drake for next turn in this situation, but then your play is Henchclan Hogsteed and Kill Command. Because you have a 5/15 taunt that's hidden behind a dormant right now that you're gonna have to deal with at some point in the game.
And Ysera has awakened.
Yeah, just play your cards.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and there's also 7 Dream Portals in the deck.
Right. So Eddie could go just all in. He's already seen Zephyrs too. So this should be the victory push here from Eddie. He is thinking about it just very briefly, like what else could PNC pull from his deck list?
Dragon Queen Alexstrasza into Deathwing.
True. That would be the only possible way, but PNC very frustrated with himself, most likely. Here, going to take off his headset, and understandably so. Eddie takes
I
it
would have
seriously.
waited.
We'll wait to see the draw.
Yeah, because he was at 9 mana. If he gets Dragon Queen Alexstrasza into Deathwing, he's got a 12/12. Eddie has no cards. He attacks twice with Deathwing, he wins.
Yeah.
It's very low odds, right? But in this case, why not wait one more draw?
I agree. I think wait one more draw and just see what happens. But I think PNC just needed to take some time to reset because he's going to play the winner of the losers match. But for now, just go ahead and scoop him up and move on. Eddie able to buy redemption from last week where he went 0-2 in groups. Granted, his group was Empanizado, Saiyan, and Muzzy. So there's no shame in that, but congratulations to Eddie. Top 8 week 1, top 4 week 2. Very consistent play out of this guy who we've been calling one of the best players from America. Certainly one of the most consistent players from Canada for a few years now. Now we move on to Bloody Face versus Nalgi Dan, and then we'll wrap up the day with PNC versus the winner of that. Very